and manufacturing. But specifically in Pakistan, I was associated with Geo Television Network and Jung Media Group for almost 13 years. And currently I'm working as an analytics and insights consultant in Canada, bringing my experience from roles in corporate strategy, financial planning and analysis, commercial finance, and specifically IT to help businesses make data-driven decisions. So today, I'm really excited to share some of my favorite Excel tips, tricks, and formulas that can extremely useful in your day-to-day tasks. And I promise you that by the end of this session, everyone will walk away with at least one new technique to streamline their day-to-day work in Excel in your offices or in your daily businesses. So the quick agenda for today is that we'll start by covering some essential formulas, and then we'll gradually move towards advanced functions. So I know like we have a lot of stuff to cover in our 2 hours together. So my suggestion would be is to listen and absorb, rather than trying to note down and write down each and every formula, because this workshop is all about understanding how and when to use different Excel functions effectively. But you can always write down any takeaways or applications that can resonate with your work. But the syntax of the formula can be always looked up later. You can YouTube it, you can Google it. But the most important thing is like how you can apply that formula and what you can achieve out of it. That's more important. Okay, so let's dive in with our sample data set I have. I'm just going to share my screen in a bit, and as we move along, I think we'll break down how to approach a variety of formulas for different tasks. And by the way, if we get some more time in the end, we'll end up with a quick Q&A sessions you might have. And so let's get started and get hands-on with Excel. Give me a second. Let me share my screen. By the way, before I start, if there is anyone in the group who doesn't speak or understand English, sorry, Urdu or Hindi, just let me know, because I'll probably be using some of the mix of languages, so everybody can understand easily. But if there's anyone, if even a single member in the group, I can stick to the English language. So I hope everyone is okay with that. Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, can you confirm like if you're able to see my screen? Okay. Give me one more second. Varisha, can you confirm if you can see the screen? Okay, perfect. All right, so this is a sample data set we have. It's a dummy data set, and this will help us learning some, how we can utilize some of the basic functions, formulas, and also like how we can use advanced functions to get the job done. Let me open up. So just to give you a context, like these are the formulas I have written that we are going to cover in this 2-hour session, and I hope that we will cover all of them. So give me one second. Okay, so the first thing that when I usually start my, like if I get a data set, I usually start by filtering out to skim through the data and see like if there's anything wrong with or if there's any missing values in the data set. So the first thing I usually do is just apply the filter in the top row, which you can just simply use it like select the first row, go to the data tab and apply filter from here. So this will help you identify or filter out any specific data set or column that you might want to see or search. But I'll also walk you through how you can effectively or sort different columns or data set using this filter options. So when you go to the data tab, apply filter, this will automatically give the drop downs for each and every column. So let's suppose if I want to, I think that let's take an example of maybe delivered. So I just want to see like, so this is a data set of you can say like it's a retail data set that has like some items, item ID, order ID, category, subcategories, store name, customer names, quantity, per unit price, order date, delivery date, status, sales channel, count, email addresses. So if I want to see that, I just want to see like the delivered orders. So you can just apply the you can just click on this drop down of the status, unselect everything, and just select delivered. So this will only filter the data set of the delivered um, orders. And if you want to clear it, go to the data tab again and just click on this clear button. So that will clear all the filter in the data set. Let's suppose if you want to sort the data set by any specific column, maybe I want to sort it by category. So you can just click on that and you will see the option of sort A to Z or sort Z to A. So ascending or descending, depending on like whatever method you want to apply. So you can apply this, it will automatically sort in ascending order. So these are all the beauty items, books, clothing, electronics, and you can sort this. If you want to sort it by any other column, you can apply the same steps here. For example, quantity. I want to see the data set by largest to the lowest quantity. So you can apply here and use largest to smallest. So this will give you the smallest to largest quantity. And we can also do the same thing for price per unit, maybe smallest to largest this time. So this will filter the data set. So this is the basic functionality of how you can sort your data set using these filters. And we also have like a sort by custom color. I'll just come to this part later, how we can use this part. Okay, so let me open my notes, like what's next I'm going to cover. So the first thing and the very basic thing that we always use in Excel is the sum formula, like how we can use the sum. So I'm just going to insert a row. If you want to insert a row in anywhere in between the data set, just simply select this from the left-hand side, the row number, right-click on that and click insert. It will insert a blank row in here. Or if you want to do the same for the column, so you can apply, you can just select any column, click on there and press on insert. So this will insert a column in there. So I'll just simply undo it for now. Now, I was coming to the sum formula. So if you want to see the total quantity in this data set, the first thing is if you don't want to apply the formula, just simply want to see like what's the total amount of quantity we have, simply select the whole column. And down below, you will be able to see there are 301 total counts, including the header. And 1686 is the sum of the total quantity. So that will give you a quick insight. How many rows or row count do we have in this data set? And what's the total of this column? And what's the average? So the average is 5.62 here. Okay. And then we, for example, if I delete this, so delete any of the column here, sorry, the cell here. So this will update the count because there is one blank, so it's not counting the blank rows. So let me undo. Now coming to the sum formula. So I know like everybody in the group would probably know like how to apply the sum formula, but I'll still start with the sum formula, average formula, and the count formula. And then we'll go to like the advanced formula, how we can utilize the sum formula with some advanced functions. So let's suppose if I want to do the sum, you just write SUM, sum, bracket open, and select the full range. By the way, the shortcut of selecting the full range is that go to the first column, press Control, Shift, and down key, and that will select the whole column or the whole range. So Shift, column, and down key, and press Enter. So you should be able to see the sum. And you can just copy paste the same formula here, just Control C, Control V, and this will update the quantity column here. So it's a very simple formula that you can apply the sum for counting to calculate the total number of numeric values you have in your data set. So that's one thing. Now, if I want to see, for example, how many rows or how many customer names do we have in this column? So for that, I will use the same logic, but this time just simply use the count formula and select the whole range, press enter. So sorry, it's actually count A. So this will tell you how many orders do we have? We have 300 orders. The formula is very simple, count A. If you just simply do the count formula, it will only calculate the blank columns. So let's try that. If I just use count formula, so in this data set, I think no, count is not working. So probably we can just stick to the count A formula. So count A is actually going to give you the number of counts or number of orders or number of specific items in this data set. And we can also use the same function for the average. Let's suppose if you want to see the average quantity. So you can use average, bracket open, same, select the selection, bracket close, and this will tell you 5.62 is the average quantity per order. And the average price, I'm just going to simply use the same formula, copy paste it. So the average price is $256 per unit. That's the average price. So these are some of the basic functions, how you can use sum formula, average formula, or count formula, and also the count A formula, like to count the quantities. Now let's suppose there may be some instances where you can, so let me just do it like this. Let's suppose I am applying the total here. So let's do that together. So let me do this sum formula here. So the total quantity is 1686 and the total price per unit. In fact, let me add a column here because this is the price per unit and I want to see the total sales. So I'm going to insert a column here and I will just simply write net sales maybe. So for that, I will just simply multiply the per unit price with the quantity to get to the net sales. So what I'll do is press equals, which is going to be a static sign in Excel, and price per unit. So that is going to give me the 17.08. This is the total net sales. And I will just simply, so there are two options. One is copy this and paste this to the towards the end, like to the entire range, like this. Or you can also use, like when you click on there, you will see the little red, the green dot here. And when you hover your mouse here, you will see the plus sign. So simply drag it all the way down. And if the range is like, the records, I think, are only 300. Let's suppose if you have like thousands of records and you don't want to just, drag all the way down. So simply double click on this green dot, the corner, simply double click on this, and this will automatically apply the same formula all the way down towards the end of the range of the data set. So that's very simple. So we have the net sales here. Now I want to see the total quantity is 1,686 items, and the net sales is now $42,000. It's not 42,000 actually. Let me just apply the math here. Well, like 21,000. Okay, so this is the total. Now we'll do the same thing for the average. Like show me the average quantity per item. So I'm going to use the same formula again. Average, and then the average net sales is 1,406. Consider a scenario that if you're applying a filter to one specific category, let's suppose I want to see books, beauty. This will not change because this formula is applied to the whole range, right? So for that, what you can do is, by the way, I cannot see any comments. So I mean, if there are any comments, so Varisha, if you can let me know if there's any question or comment in between, because I'm not seeing the chat. Okay, so let's suppose you want to see the total to be dynamic based on the selection of data sets. So for that, we will use the subtotal formula. So I will just simply use the subtotal here. So this is going to be the subtotal. Now how subtotal will work? So I will use is equals subtotal bracket open. As you open the bracket, it will tell you like what do you want to see as a subtotal? Like do you want to average, count A, max, min, or like whatever you want. So for example, for the sum, it's saying code 9. So I will apply 9, comma, and the whole range. So what will happen now is as I apply a formula, the filter, maybe this time in clothing category, this will automatically change. Now you don't have to worry about like, this number is not changing. So you now have the total, the subtotal formula. So which means that it will only sum up the filtered data set. Or maybe let's suppose within clothing, I want to show me the total of men clothing. So it's only 445. And if you want to make it dynamic, like show me the percentage of this. So just use this divided by the total net sales and apply this as a percent. So this is like 4% of the sales will go in like men clothing. And the total data set is going to be like for all the clothing is 15%. And if you clear this filter as well, so this will show you 100% because this will equal to the total sales. So this is the function of the subtotal here. Okay, so now we have covered sum, average, and subtotal. I'll show you how we can count specific things in the data set. Let's suppose we have different categories. Maybe we have, just give me 1 second. Okay, someone wants to understand the subtotal formulas. Okay, so it's very simple. It's basically, you will just simply write subtotal, bracket open, select what do you want to see in the subtotal. Do you want to see the average of the filtered data set, or do you want to see the sum of the filtered data set? So I'm just giving you two examples, average or sum. If you want to see average, you'll just write 1, comma, and select the whole range, bracket close, and enter. So this will give you the 1406 is the average of the entire data set. But if you apply filter on any particular item in the cell, so this will filter only the average of maybe clothing item this time, or whatever you see on the screen, it's the filter of only that category. And you can, if you want to see the sum, so you will just simply, I'll replace 1 with 9 because 9 is the code. You can see it here in the dropdown. So 9 is the code for the sum, and just simply apply that. So this is going to show you the sum of the filtered data set in Excel sheet. So that's very simple. Now, coming to the specific count formula, like how do you want to count specific things? So let's suppose we have beauty, books. Let's suppose, let's take 3 examples from here. Okay, and then in here. So I want to see how many orders do we have for books versus beauty versus home and kitchen. So for this, I'm going to use the count if formula, which will tell me, let me write here the category. Total orders or order count, or maybe net sales of these books orders. So what we can do is count. So I want to see how many total orders do we have in the books category. So I will use count if formula. Count if, just write count if, bracket open, and it will automatically tell you select the range. So I will go in here and apply the range in the category because I'm using this column as a category. I want to see books, beauty, or toys. Select the whole category, click comma, and then it will ask you, give me the criteria. So I'll go back to this sheet and I'll tell him I need the books category. The books is is going to be my criteria to order to count the orders. When you press enter, that will show you we have 53 books orders. And if I do here, if I go here, apply books, and just do the sum here. So that will tell you these are 54 items. And through formula, we can see 53. Oh, sorry, 54 is because it's including the header. So if you look at this range, so books is only 53. And if you come here, this is only going to show you 53. Now I want to use the same formula and copy paste it for beauty and home. But as I copy paste it in a simple way, it will also it will just use the same formula without any error. So for example, you just need to apply the formula in one particular set and copy paste it for different categories, and that will show you the total count of all the other orders. So that's very simple. You can count the number of orders by using the count if formula. Now I want to see the same thing for the net sales. So if I do the count formula, so net sales would not work because net sales is the number value, and we want to see for example for these 53 items. So the net sale is the total net sales is 76071. So instead of count if, I will use the sum if formula, and it's exactly the same thing. So instead of count if, I want to see the sum if. The formula will tell you select the range. So I'm going to select the net sales range here. Like you can select the whole column, or you can just simply select like this. But I usually prefer selecting the whole column. So if the data set increases, so it won't bother me to adjust the data range. So it's always better to use the whole column when you reference a formula. Apply comma, and then it will ask you, give me the criteria. Oh, sorry, my bad. So sum if it's not, it's the range is going to be your category. This is your range. So I want to sum if the category, comma, and it will ask you, give me the criteria. So my criteria is books, this column, this cell, and then the sum. It's going to tell you, give the sum range, select the sum range. So the sum range is going to be the net sales. So when you click enter, it will give you 76071. And when you copy paste this formula, so you will get to know there are 53 books orders and this 76,000. Beauty 47, home kitchen 45. And if you apply like any other column, so maybe let's pick up any other, maybe electronics this time. So copy paste electronics here and copy paste this formula. So this will automatically update the total number of orders for electronics is 55 and the net sale is $89,000. So you can dynamically create a different sheet to summarize the information. You just have to create like increase the list depending on your criteria and just copy paste this, so you will get to see the order count and the net sales. So this is a sum if and count if formula based on the criteria that you may have. Now another criteria is, what if you have multiple criterias? Let's suppose I'll add one more criteria here. I want to know I want to add a subcategory here. So I want to calculate, maybe let's take an example from books. Maybe let's see, what do we have in the books category? So books category, we have different like comics, education, fiction, non-fiction. So I want to further drill it down to the fiction category. So fiction, and let's pick up any beauty category. Maybe let me see, what do we have in the beauty category? Beauty could be fragrance. Copy this, paste this. Let's also do like home and kitchen appliances. And I will move this down, and let's apply one more category for the home and kitchen, but this time I'll just use different subcategory, which could be cookware. So this time the formula is working based on only like, one criteria, which is only books. But I want to drill it down to another criteria. Show me the count of home and kitchen plus appliances. So I will use count ifs formula. And that's very simple. You just simply write count ifs, which is IFS, another addition in the letter, open the bracket. So it will automatically guide you like what is the next one. So it's going to tell you criteria range 1. What is the criteria range 1? When it says range, that means you have to select the whole range in the column. So my criteria range 1 is going to be the category, which is in this data set, category. That's my first criteria. Apply comma, and then it will tell you, okay, for this range, what is the criteria in your data set? So in this range, my criteria is going to be home and kitchen because that's this category. Now apply formula, and then it will ask you, what is the criteria range 2? So my criteria range 2 is the subcategory, which is this column. And the criteria is going to be appliances. And then it will tell you like, yeah, so that's fine. So just close this. And now it's saying that under home and kitchen, appliances has only 14 orders. So let's test this. Let me select home and kitchen. And if I do appliances, see, these are only 14 orders. And I have the right answer. Same, and but if I want to know, show me home and kitchen, but cookware. So that's only 11 orders. So it's just copy paste, exactly the same formula. It's very simple. Count ifs, give the the criteria range 1, the criteria 1, then the criteria range 2, criteria 2, that's it. And I want to do the same thing for sum ifs, multiple conditions. And you can, by the way, you can just go on and on. If you want to apply any third category here, you can just simply do the same thing and add on. You can keep adding the different multiple condition, and that will further drill down your data set. So let's suppose if I go with this, give me 1 second. Let me take a look at if there's any comment in the chat. I can't see the chat, by the way. I don't know. Okay, yeah, I can see the chat. Perfect. Right. So, sorry. Yeah. So for the sum if, so there's only one difference between sum and sum if. In the sum if, we usually go with the data with the criteria first, range second, range first, criteria second, and the sum column in the last. But in the sum if, we usually go with the sum column in at first instance. So and you don't have to worry about that, because if you are going to use the sum ifs formula with multiple, so so the difference in I can see the comment, sum if is only applicable for single condition, whereas sum ifs can be used for multiple conditions, right? So this one is sum if. Now we have two conditions here, home and kitchen, like category and subcategory. So what I'll do is I'll just simply use sum ifs, bracket open, and it will tell you select the sum range. Now the sum range means you have to select the net sales column, because I want to calculate the net sales. When you apply the comma, it will tell you what is the criteria range one. So the criteria range one is going to be my category, and the criteria in my data set for the category is this cell, which is the reference. The second category, which is second criteria range, is going to be my subcategory, which is in here. When you apply the comma, it will tell you, okay, for this subcategory, what is my criteria in your data set, which is going to be this. And that's it. You can see. Now I'll repeat that again for this one. For sum ifs, if I have multiple conditions, I will start with sum ifs, bracket open. Excel will automatically tell you what range do you need to select. So it's going to tell you sum range. So sum range is going to be my net sales, apply comma. It will tell you what's the criteria range. So the criteria range one is going to be my category. For this category, this is my reference cell. For the subcategory, which is this, comma, and then comma again, it's this. Actually, this has to be in here. Let me do that again. Sum ifs. So sum range is going to be net sales. My first criteria is category. Category reference is this cell. Second criteria is subcategory. And criteria for subcategory is this. Apply 11,757. Now test this. So I'll clear the filter here. I'll select home and kitchen. And under home and kitchen, I think it was appliances, right? Let me check. Yeah, appliances has 14 orders worth of 13,883. So let's check. We have 14 orders, and the worth is 13,883. 14 orders, 13,883. So that's basically your sum if formula. Let's suppose if you want to add another condition, like under appliances, I'll just edit the same formula. I want to see if from appliances needs to be calculated from the tech store. How many appliances were purchased from the tech store? So I will just simply add another criteria in here, which is now going to be my store name, apply comma, and then use this tech store. So it's only 5,300. So you can just keep on adding different criteria and conditions using the sum ifs formula. And you can do the same thing in count if. So it's really, easy. Okay, so I'll take a pause here. Any question with regards to sum if, count if, sum, average or count or subtotal formula before I move on to the next phase? Okay. Okay, chat. Right. Right. Okay. So let's move on to the next one. This one is my favorite, actually, what I'm going to tell you right now. Okay. Before that, let's also take another example of minimum and maximum. I'll use the same sheet here. So let's suppose I want to see what is the maximum value in this data range. So the first thing, like what you can easily do is just simply click on this net sales, go all the way down and see this is the 4,837, the maximum amount, and the lowest sale is 17.08. But this is easy like if you have a small data set. Let's suppose if you have like thousands of records, like the data set which I work with is like, Excel doesn't show you all the filters here. It says like, limit exceed, or, not all the filters are explained here. So for that, you would need the formula. So let me just use minimum value and maximum value. So the minimum value and maximum value is a very straightforward formula. Just write min, bracket open, select the range, close the bracket, press enter. That will tell you the minimum value in this data set is 1708, and the max value is 4,837 is the max value. If you do the same thing and copy paste in terms of quantity, minimum quantity is 1, maximum quantity in any order is 10. So that's a minimum max formula. Now I'll come to the another interesting thing, which will be, I think, new to you as well. When we create some sort of internal reports or dashboards, so for example, what I've done here is if I am doing a summarized version of the sales by categories. So I want a list of categories, like what list do I have, and I want to make it dynamic. So for example, maybe like you have monthly reports in your office, in your day-to-day routine, and every month you might have like different sort of categories. Let's suppose this month you have books, beauty, home and appliances, and kitchen, etc. But in the next month report, maybe you have different category coming into this list, and maybe it's being replaced with the other category. So what you will do is you will manually go in there, copy this, and so one way of doing that is like there are two ways. If I want to generate a list of unique items, so first thing is I will just simply copy this entire data set, like the categories. I will paste it here as values. And if you want to remove the duplicate, go to the data tab and you will see this remove duplicate items. So when you click on that, it will remove all the duplicates and it will only show you. So my unique categories are only 6 categories. And now I can just simply apply the formula. Okay, so order count, or maybe net sales, whatever. Let's suppose the next month you have different categories coming in. So you will do the same step, right? And if you have to do this, like maybe some reports are weekly, some reports are daily reports. And if you have to do that daily, it will be quite annoying. So the easiest way of doing this is apply the unique formula. Instead of copy pasting this, like if I do copy this and paste it here and go to the remove duplicates tab, button, but I want to make it dynamic. So let's suppose, so I'll do this unique formula, and this is very, very interesting. So apply UNIQUE, unique, open the bracket, and just select the range. Just tell him this is my data set, bracket close. It will automatically generate the unique list of categories in your data set. Now, why this is interesting, or why this is more practical if you don't use this remove duplicate option. Let's suppose I go in here, select toys, and I remove the S word from here, which is only toy. So it's basically 2 categories here. So now if you go in here in your data set, sorry, this one, you can see toys now appearing automatically. I didn't do anything. It's automatically appearing up in here. Or maybe if I go in here and create another category, maybe this time I can say automobile, just for the reference. See, automobile is automatically coming up here. So this is going to be really interesting. Like if you want to make your list dynamic without doing the efforts of copy pasting the data and removing duplicates, that's one thing. Another interesting part of this is, let's suppose if you have a blank in here. Let's suppose if I remove this one, this automobile, so it will return 0. Now, how do you ignore the 0 if you're unique formula? So I will do unique start with unique, bracket open, and I will tell him to filter only the the non-zero value. So with unique, just write filter, select your range, which is again going to be categories. And I can see we still have like this blank value in here. Let me just first clear the data set because I think I've applied a filter here. So clear this. It's going to be, it's going to be unique, bracket open, and then apply filter, bracket open, select your data range, which is going to be this data range. I can see the blank in here, and then do the same thing again. Like this is going to be the second time after comma. Repeat that. Tell him the filter is not equals to blank and bracket double close. So now you can see the same list here, but this time the blank or the zero is not coming in. So it's this formula is actually ignoring the blank values. So if you want to take a note, just write like, if you want to ignore blank values in unique, so you need to use the combination of unique and filter. So that's going to make it dynamic, more dynamic. And yep, that's pretty simple. One more shortcut is like, for example, and I basically use this quite often. So let's suppose if you have a toys category, right? Or maybe like beauty, let's suppose beauty. I want to rename this as health and beauty. I don't want to use like beauty only. So there are two ways of doing that. First is you click like the entire range, press Control H, which is the shortcut of replace, Control H. This will tell you, okay, find what? So I'll tell him find beauty, but replace it with health and beauty. And just click replace all. So it will automatically replace all the values in your data set. Another way of doing that is like, let's suppose if you, like most of the people actually try that way. They will do is like, they will go to the electronic, like let's try electronic this time. And I want to remove the S from this one. So what people usually do is they copy paste and then they paste it in the filter data set. So there's a chance of getting this filled in the hidden rows here. So for example, between this unfiltered data set. So the best way of doing that is copy the first cell, select the entire range, including the first cell all the way down, and press Control D, D for dog. So that will only apply or replicate or paste this formula in only those visible cells, not the entire range. So Control and D, Control plus D. That will and just make sure that you are also selecting the first cell. Okay, yeah, I can repeat it. So let's suppose I want to replace this time maybe let's replace home and kitchen, or maybe toys. Just let's replace toys with toy only. So select the full cell, and let me also try like if you can, most people don't remember the shortcut. So what I can do is, where is that? Yeah, this one. So go to the home page, and then you will find this button here, find and select. So you can drop it down and go to replace option. Just write, I want to replace toys with only toy, and just click replace all. So it will tell you 50 movements are done. So now toys becomes toy only. Okay, any other question? Okay. Now we have covered min, max, count, sum if, subtotal. Okay, interesting thing about lookup function. A lot of people get confused like what VLOOKUP function does. And now Excel has introduced XLOOKUP because previously we used to have VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP, but now XLOOKUP can work perfectly fine. So let's use the same data set in here. Okay, let's use this like category. Let's suppose this is a category, or I think the best way is let's use the item number here. So I have an item number column, and I have category, and I have subcategory. So most of the time what happens is like you don't get like the entire data set in one go. So mostly like you will get or export the data by item level, but you will have a separate table for the category and subcategory mapping. So I will just simply pick up these maybe item numbers as for the reference, copy paste them here. I want to see what's the category of this item and what's the subcategory of this item. So I will use the VLOOKUP function that will actually find or find me the category of these items and the subcategories. How to use VLOOKUP? Click, uh, just type VLOOKUP. V means vertical. So we are actually searching the data from the vertical lookup. Open the bracket and that will tell you lookup value. Like what do you want to look up? So I want to look up this item and then press comma, and then it will tell you select the table array, like what's the data set. So this is going to be my data set. So from this to this range to the subcategory level, and then press comma again, and then it will tell you what's the number of column that you want to return. So if I started from here, which means from the item, so that's going to be that's going to be treated as column 1. This is column 2. This is column 3. So in this selected data range, my category is appearing in the third column. So I will write 3 and comma 0 and close the bracket. It will tell me the the category for this item is health and beauty. Now, how do I do the same thing for the subcategory? In this one, I've written like the third, like number 3, because if you do the selection from here, so the category is actually coming into the third row. And you can also see the number of the column in this little pop-up here, which is like the 3C. If you do the selection until here, like 4C, that is going to be your fourth column to look up the item for the subcategory. So I'll use the same thing again in case you missed it previously. We look up, bracket open, lookup value is going to be this item, apply comma, select the range, and this time it's going to be subcategory. Maybe if you do this like the entire range, but you have to remember like what's the number of the column where your subcategory is falling. Let's suppose if I do the range until in here and apply comma, but this time 1, 2, 3, and 4, 4 comma 0, it's going to tell me the subcategory. And if I do apply this all the way down, so now I have the lookup of category and subcategories for all the items listed in this list. Okay, so this is like VLOOKUP. 0 is basically, I'll tell you why. So 0 is basically telling you like if this is true, then return. There's a message in the chat. Can you? Okay, sorry. Yeah. Okay, let me do that again, and I'll explain why 0. It's basically the true or false. Like if it's true, like so it returns 0. Comma 4 comma. So you see the true approximate match or exact match. So usually we true the approximate match. We don't go with the false with the exact match. So it's like the function. It has to happen like this way. It's Excel. Okay. So this is so VLOOKUP actually starts from here and goes in here. So let's suppose if I want to know I think let's pick up an example of maybe Jennifer customer name. Let's pick up customer name. And like this. Okay. So now this time I want to see the order number of this customer. Order number is appearing in this column. So the VLOOKUP function will not work in here because it's a reverse VLOOKUP. VLOOKUP will actually start from left to right. We can't go like from right to left or like in the middle. So for this, we will use XLOOKUP. And XLOOKUP is a new function introduced by Excel. So we'll use XLOOKUP, and that can also replace like the VLOOKUP. So again, lookup value is this. Lookup array is this customer name, and lookup column is return column is this. Did I do something wrong with this? Right. Lookup value, lookup array, and return array if not found match. think I did something wrong. Let me try another way. X lookup. This is my criteria. Oh, I think we probably don't use the array, but let me try. A to A. Sorry, is equals to X lookup each 18 data A and oh yeah, we don't use the array. I think you're right. And then the customer should be G and A. Perfect. Let me repeat that again. We use this X lookup. Lookup value is going to be this. What do I want to see? The customer name and the order number. So you will use the customer name as a range, and then you will do the first column, which is going to be order ID that I want to see on the other end, and close. So that will give you the order number for this customer. And if you double click on in here, so it will show you all the orders for this customer. So this is the difference between VLOOKUP and XLOOKUP. And thanks, I can see a comment. I actually missed that. So yeah, that's we don't use array in XLOOKUP. So this is like VLOOKUP and XLOOKUP, and this is really, I mean, like I use it like every day because I think this is a really good function for the Excel and a very useful. Okay, any question or comment on this on VLOOKUP or XLOOKUP? If you guys want me to repeat it, let me know. All right. XLOOKUP means like lookup from anywhere because previously Excel used to have VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP, like horizontal or vertical. But now, yeah, okay, I'll repeat that again. So this time maybe I want to see, give me the email address of, not actually email address, maybe this time I would, yeah, maybe email address. Let's try email address. So type XLOOKUP. What do you want to look up? Select that cell, press comma. Where is that cell? The range. So this is going to be the customer name in the data set. Press comma. And what do you want to return? I want to return the email address of this customer, bracket close. That's it. So it's going to tell you the email address of this customer in a different sheet. One more thing, I actually missed it. It's going to be like, for example, if you have a data range, maybe like this one is missing. So it will return 0. I usually do is like if there is an error in the data set, if it doesn't find any value, so I use if error function. And if error is like really helpful to clean the data. So you can, how to use if error. So simply write if error before the formula, bracket open, and towards the end, apply comma, and just use inverted commas and close, which means I'm telling him if there is an error in the formula or in the selected range, just return blank, don't return 0. And let's see what it happened. If I drag all the way down, actually there is no error. It's basically, it's not, it's one version here. I usually forget which okay, sorry, wherever, if error, X lookup. Yeah, I think it's some, because I think probably this, yeah, this would work. So this AAA range is not there in the customer name. So it's basically an error. If you see it here, I didn't use the if error formula in this range, so it's basically showing you NA. And a lot of time you actually see NAs, but you want to get rid of that. So how do you want to get rid of that? Just write if error in the beginning of the formula, close it in the bracket, but before closing the bracket, apply comma and just use the inverted comma, so it will return blank. Oh, can you hear me? I see a comment like people cannot hear me. Can anybody confirm? Okay, perfect. Thanks. Right. So this is like the X look if error. Okay, if error is covered, let me see what's next. Okay, yeah, one more thing, just to clean. So most of the time what happens is if you have like the email addresses, so we have like the full email addresses here, like, um, @Yahoo or @Hotmail. So most of the time what people need is like, we want to separate the domain name from the email addresses. So this is just an example. You can apply the same thing in any other data set. So to separate different characters from the cell or the data, we usually use a delimiter function. So there are two ways of doing that. If you want to do it like in a quick way, I want to see separate @ like the domain and the text before @. So you select the whole range, or maybe I think that's a good example. Like if you let me just select this one, go to in here. So or maybe I think so I'm just making a data set here for the example. Let's suppose you have the data set with the hyphen sign in between, and I just want to separate hyphen sign, like the characters before the hyphen and the after the hyphen. I actually want to separate both these data set in between in a separate columns. So you select the whole cell, go to the data tab, and go to text to columns. This one, go to the data tab, go to text to columns, select this delimited, click next, and use other function here because I want to delimit it with hyphen sign. Click next, finish. Okay. Oh, what happened? Uh, text to column, delimited. I don't know why it's not happening here, but usually it does. Let me try another example. Okay, let's do another example here. Or maybe if I can use this as an example, let's see if a space would work. Data, text to column, delimited, tab, next, finish. It's not working. Okay, anyways, try a different method. So I want to separate the text before @ and after @. So first I will just simply use maybe username, and the last column could be domain, right? So I will apply text before, bracket open, select the cell, apply comma. What is the delimiter I want to use? It's basically @ sign. That's the delimiter I want to use. Bracket close, press enter. That will only show you the username. And then I can do the same thing, but this time, instead of text before, I can use text after this, comma, @. So now this is my domain name and this is my username. It's pretty easy. Another thing, the length formula. Let's suppose if you want to see, if you want to basically, the application of this could be like if you want to identify 000, let me, like technically you would know like your item number is going to be 3 characters, or like this character, let's find the length of this character. So the length, so to find the length of the character is just use len, bracket open, select the range, and that will tell you 7. So in my entire data set, it's very consistent. I can see the length of the item is 7. So let's suppose you're doing some analysis and you don't have time to quickly see like how many items are like kind of outliers, or there's a typo in between there. If the length of the item number is less than or greater than 7, it means that there is some typo in the data set. So how you can do that? You can simply use this length character and you will see. So you can easily filter show me anything, or let's try this time. Maybe you have different numbers in here. So you can apply number filter and you can apply maybe not equal to. Do we have? Yeah, do not equal 7. because 7 is, I know like 7 is my usual number. So these are the two items which I see we have a typo in there. There are like a lot of zeros after the number, or like this has like double zeros, and this has 3 zeros. That means this is wrong. So you can use this length function if you need, if you're pretty sure like your item number or any other character has a specific length, so you can identify which one has the issues. And then let's suppose if you want to do the find, maybe I want to convert this to the country initials. So I want to see that I want to actually, in fact, I think before doing that, let me explain, how you can return any specific characters from a given data set. So let me clear the data first. Let's suppose if you want to see what's the function of left, right, and middle. So what you can, I'll tell you like how you can effectively use left, right, and middle formula. So use the left, select the range, comma, and I want to see, ignore the first character. So the first, if I, for example, maybe let's try 5. Give me the first character of this, of this, country initials. So this is going to tell me left, first character. If I do 2, so it will only show me 2 characters. So it will automatically convert like 2 characters. And if you want to do the same thing, but from the other end of the characters, for example, instead of using the left function, you can use the right function. So for example, if I do replace left with right and use the same thing, so you can see the last 2 characters of this value is showing up in this column. So Canada is only DA, Turkey is EY. And if you want to see the middle function, like I want to see the middle value, so you can, instead of left and right, you can use mid, select the cell, and maybe I will tell, okay, give me the third. From the third, give me the 2 characters. So it means like, for example, I need 2 values, but from the third. So it will tell you PAKIS. So after, so from third is K, and 2 is 3. If I do it like 3, so KIS. So this is how you can manipulate the data if you want to find characters from this from the values. The other function of using this is going to be like substitute. So let's suppose I want to substitute India with IND or Pakistan with just PAK. How we can use that? So you can use substitute function. Substitute is going to be like this cell, and I will tell him, instead of like India, just use IND. See, so India is going to be substituted with, or I mean, like you can also replace it with, but this is going to be a separate column. If you want to replace it, you can simply just go in there, find and replace the IND, India with IND. But if you're going to create a separate column, so maybe you can use the substitute, or the better way of you doing that is create a key. Maybe if you can just go in here, create a key, you can tell India is this, and by the way, this is a new, and then you can do this and VLOOKUP and apply it in here. So that will be a quick thing instead of manually doing this. Okay, one more interesting thing. Now we are talking about the text characters and the length. Let's suppose you get a list of emails, something like this, and you have to shoot an email to all of these people, and you have like a list of 100 people. What you will do, you will just simply copy paste this, and copy this and paste this in your mailbox one by one, and then shoot an email. But what if I give you a quick formula to easily convert all these emails into a single line without manually copy pasting them? So for that, we actually use text join formula. How do we do that? Is equals. text join. That's one word. Open the bracket. How do I want to how do I want to join the text? What is going to be my delimiter? So delimiter is like when you do the emails, usually your Outlook consider this as a separator, like semicolon space. This is going to be my delimiter between all these. And then I'll tell him, okay, true. Yeah, ignore empty cells. That's right, true. And then select the entire email range and then close the bracket. See, all emails of the entire data range, like 300 emails are in just single email, a single line. So a lot of time, what we usually do is like we basically need like a kind of summary thing, and we don't have time to manually copy paste and create like all the data set in just one line. So you can use this text join formula to merge the entire data range using any delimiter do you want. So for example, if I want to see, I want to use a pipe symbol instead of this one. So now you can see that these values are now separated by pipes. See here. So that's also another feature of Excel. Sometimes we get spaces after or before the text. So for example, let me do this. We have double space here. We have double space here. So usually what we do is we use the trim formula to remove the unnecessary blanks from the value. So use trim, select the cell and press enter. Do the same thing here. So you see, I have applied double spaces here. Before the cell, but in this one, trim will basically reduce or eliminate the spaces between, after or before the text. Okay, let's do another example of this one. Now we have the username here, but I want to separate, I would say like the first initial and the second name. I think the best example could be Aizaz at Hotmail live.com. Let's take an example. So I want to return this as this first name initial and the second name full name. So because most of the time we usually receive the data in this form, and we basically want to create a username or the name of the member using their email addresses. So what you can do is you can just use left this and 1. So this is going to be your first combination. I have the return now. And then you will do AND function. So AND is going to be like what after this. So create a space, and then again, what's next? And then I will tell him to return mid this, comma 2, comma 1. Let me try. Yeah, so now we have all these. But if I do this, sorry, it's equals to a 2. Oh, actually, I wanted to convert it to the uppercase, but this is already uppercase. Let's suppose if this is all lowercase, something like that. So I will use mid 2, comma length. Perfect. Should be -1. Perfect. So now we have like separated like m at Aizaz, but I want to get rid of this at the rate. So what I'll do is I'll simply use give me the give me the first letter from left, comma 1. That's my first letter. But I want to convert it to the uppercase. For the uppercase, just add upper text and close it. So that will convert the M sign to the uppercase. After that, the second condition is going to be space. So now space is created. The third condition is going to be that the second name also starts with the uppercase. So I will write upper, and then I'll write mid because I want this cell, upper, mid, and the cell references are 8. The second, but only return first word from the second. Something like that. Okay, they're going good. And then add a third condition and now the remaining part will be in the lowercase, again from the mid, R8, comma 3, comma length is going to be R8 minus 2. See, but if you want to separate this, so you can just use the delimiter function to exclude like the @ or text before @. So you can come to like this format Aizaz. So the purpose of showing you this example is how you can use the upper and lower case and how you can separate this text before @ like in here to come up with like this to come up with the username using the email addresses you have in your data set. Okay, any question? Okay, when we apply, we highlight them with different colors to identify. I didn't get your question actually, but I'll come to the conditional formatting in a bit, and probably that will address your, oh yeah, different color, like the blue one. Oh yeah, you can just simply go in here and apply any color you want. For example, in this function, you can use any color in here or font color. So you have these formatting in here. These are pretty simple. Okay, the second question, why -2 at the end of the command? Where? This one? This one? Actually, I think I was using an example for this one. Let me try. Yeah, it's basically showing how many characters do you want to remove from this. So if I use -5, it will just remove the last 3. Like whatever I think there is a space probably in there. But if I use like maybe -8, so you see, this is how you can adjust the number of, like how many characters do you want to remove from the end. Okay, let's go to the date function. So I know a lot of time we actually struggle with the dates. Sometimes we get the dates in a text format and we cannot just simply, so for example, if you do apply the filter on here, so you should be easily able to see like, because all these are in the date format, right? You can see like which date, for example, you can just drill down, okay, I just want to see like only the month of July, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. So you can simply click on that. But most of the time when we get the data, we don't get the dates in a date format. So for that, let's suppose if I apply maybe a dot in the end, just giving an example here. Okay, so this is basically out of the date range now. You can see 27th of August 2024. I'll try here if that formula works. I'm not sure, like, no, yeah. So let's convert this to text maybe, this one. So to convert a date to text to the date, we usually use date value function. Simply write date value, open the bracket, select the cell, press enter. I think this is going to be an example. Where is that? general. Oh, because I think this is already a date format, which is why it's not working. But usually if you get a data set where the date is written, but it's not in the date format, so you can simply use date value function, open the bracket, select the date, close the bracket, and that will return the date value. Because this is already a date function, it is why it's giving you an error here. Also at the same time, how do you calculate the number of days between the order date and delivery date? So maybe duration, let's suppose. We have 2 dates in here. And I want to see the difference between the order date and the delivery date. So I can simply do the math here. This minus this, and that will, and convert it to the numbers. And that will give you 25 days. It actually should be in the reverse order because if it won't give you the negative numbers at 25. So the order date was 29 September, but the delivery date was 4th September. It's actually, it's a wrong data set. Delivery date cannot be more than like the less than the order date. But yeah, just to give you an example. So you can just simply write, this minus this, and that will give you the difference of the date. So you can easily say, okay, what are the orders where we have the longer duration, like which orders were delayed? And you can also apply a criteria, like, let's suppose, if you want to, I'll come to that part later, like how you can apply a formula to return what's the criteria of the delayed order. So for example, if the order was delayed, delivered after 9 days or maybe 10 days, that so we can apply that formatting in here. So let's suppose insert a column here and flag, delay flag. And now we'll try first, let me reverse the formula because I think that was a wrong date. I basically copy pasted this, so should be October, maybe. No, this should be October. Yeah, this is fine. Okay, perfect. So now we have the duration. I'll try with the if formula to give me a condition, like if the order date if the number of days are more than 5, then return a delay flag. Let's suppose. So okay, how do we use the if formula? And that's very useful feature in Excel. So you can come up with different combinations. So I will write if bracket open, if this is greater than 5, then what should be the condition? So return delayed bracket close. Otherwise, like whatever the number is other than greater than 5, then return on time and bracket close. So if you do this, you should be able to see any order that was delivered after 5 days. Those are considered as delayed. And now if you see, if I want to do the quick analysis of show me the on time versus delayed, the count. So I will use count if the range and the criteria is going to be this. And we'll do the same thing in here. This time use this. Okay. So the total orders were 300. And if I do the simple math in here, so I can easily see 80% on time, 20% orders were delayed. So it's a quick thing. Now, if you want to apply a different criteria, like one more criteria, similar to like when we have like multiple conditions for COUNTIF or SUMIF. So we can also use nested if formula, which means we can have multiple criteria for the if condition. So maybe let's add another criteria on this. Let's suppose if it's equal to 5, so return ready to ship. I'm just making it up. And so this is my first condition. If you want to apply multiple condition, then you will do the same thing again. If this is greater than 5, then delayed. Another condition, if this is greater than 10, red flag, maybe. And if this is less than 5, less than or equal to 5, then on time. Close bracket, one argument is missing. Oh yeah, this. Wait, let me do that again. Okay, perfect. So I have now multiple criteria. If this is 5, ready to ship. If this is greater than 5, delayed. If this is greater than 10, then it should return red flag. So let's suppose if I do maybe 10, so 11, sorry. I think there is a condition if n, oh, I'm using this. Let me do that again. If this is equals to 5, ready to ship. Second condition, if n8 is equals to, sorry, greater than 10, red flag. And if, oh, you know what, I need to apply the, like if you're basically giving them a range, then you will need to use the if and or if or formula. So I'll come to the if and. So first, let's use multiple condition for if and then I'll come to if and, if and if or. So let's suppose if I'm using multiple condition in here. So if this is equals to 5, return on time. If this n8 greater than 5, delayed. If n8 less than 5, comma, on time. So those are the two conditions here. So you can see delayed, greater than 5, less than 5, on time. But let's suppose if I want to give a criteria of, if this is between maybe, 5 to 7. Sorry. Let's suppose 5 to 7 is, why is it? So 5 to 7, shit. Let me put this as a text here. So 5 to 7 means on time. Maybe 1 to 4 is early, and greater than 7 is delayed. So that's my threshold. How will I use this in if formula? So I'll use if my duration is, so I'll use first and form because I have two conditions for the range formula. So if and, I'll use if and. The first condition is if the duration is greater than is equals to 1. Second condition, n8 less than is equals to 4. If those two conditions are met, then it should return early. Second condition, if and n8 is greater than is equals to 5. The second condition, n8 less than is equals to 7, bracket close, should return on time. And the third condition, if n8 is greater than 7, then return delayed. And I will close all of them. Okay, so my condition is set. So there are two combination if and if or. So if you use that, now, if it's saying 5, on time. If it's saying 11, delayed. If it's saying 1 or less than 5, it's saying early. So you can use this if and condition using like whatever criteria you want to define in your formula. You can just simply use if and. If there are multiple conditions or if the range needs to be met in the formula, then you will use if and. Sometimes you wouldn't say if or. Oh, so the last one is I didn't use and because it's only one condition which is greater than 7. There is no range. In these two examples, we have range of 1 to 4 and 5 to 7. But in the last one, I don't have any range. I can simply say return like if it's greater than 7, just return delay. Okay, the third thing is how do we use or? Like, let's suppose I can say I think maybe ship cancel. How many use cancel delivered processing and ship? Okay, so we have shipped, canceled, delivered, and processing. So let's suppose if I want to create a condition here that if the item is shipped or delivered, it should say done, right? If it's delivered or shipped. So the return status should be done. If it's canceled, show me maybe not applicable. And if it's saying processing, I would say review. I want to review the processing order. So these are the conditions. But in this one, I'm actually using this is not going to be the and situation because I'm saying like if this is shipped or delivered, show me the return. So I will use the same condition here, like the same logic, but instead of and, I will use or. How? So if or, the first logic is like P8, which is my cell, is equals to shipped, and P8 is the second condition, like with our P8 is equal to shipped or P8 is equals to delivered. Bracket close, return, done. If P8 is equals to cancel, return, not applicable. And if P8 is equals to processing, then show me review status. Done. Okay, now you can see if this is shipped, done. If it's delivered, done. So it's returning both done status in the shipped or delivered, canceled NA, and processing. Do we have any? Review. So you can basically use exactly the same logic which you have applied in if and. You can use the same one in if and or. It's just like the criteria is if either of the two conditions are met, show me this done status. And the and is basically the range. So I know this is a bit tricky, but again, you don't have to memorize the syntax of the formula. You just have to understand the logic, like how and when can we use the if and if or logic, and then you can always Google or YouTube, the formula, or you can always use the ChatGPT. But you just have to be aware, how can we use the if and or and if and formula. That's one thing. Okay. Any question on this one? I have a few things left, but I'll simply quickly cover them. Okay, quickly one thing. If you want to highlight any duplicate values, I want to see like which are the duplicate items. Let me use this. Let me duplicate this. The easiest way of finding the duplicate is select the whole range. Go to the data tab. Sorry, I think it's in the, where did that go? Yeah. Yeah, this one. So you select the entire range, go to the home button, go to the conditional formatting, highlight cells, and simply ask Excel to highlight the duplicate values. And And you can also select the criteria, like how do you want to highlight them, yellow, green, like whatever color you want, you would prefer. Just select that, press OK. It will tell you these are the duplicate ones in your data set. So that's a quick thing to easily identify the duplicate items in your data set. That's one thing. Let's suppose if you want to find the rank, so let's use the same data set here, which we have already created. Or I can simply create a new one. So category and net sales. So let's, I've already explained this formula. Let's create a unique list here. So this is my, I'll just simply ignore the 0 for now in the category. Okay, so this is, yeah, this is my, so I want to calculate the net sales, right? So I'll use simply sum if formula quickly, select the range of the category. Criteria is going to be this, and this is the net sales, right? Copy paste this. So now I have the sales by category. I want to find out the rank. Suppose if you have like hundreds of categories, but you just want to highlight the top 10, like which one are the top 10, or what's the rank of the categories by net sales. So how do we use the rank formula? So you can simply say rank, open bracket, select the full range of the data set, apply comma, and then use this first value, apply OK. But what I'll also do is I'll simply fix the cell, the range, because I'm going to drag this formula all the way down. So I will simply use the fixed. If you put the dollar sign before the column name and the row number, that will fix the cell. So I want to fix the entire range. Wait a second, I know why this is happening, because if I use this copy, paste. See, so what you simply do is $H $3, which is I'm fixing the range, the entire range. So if I move this cell, I'll tell you why. Because if you move this cell, if you double click here, so this range will move. You see, if you come to this one, this range is moving. So if you want to fix the range, just apply the dollar sign before the column name and then a row number and click on that. So now, oh, sorry, H3s to H8. This should be H8. Okay, see, so rank, first reference is cell, and then use the, after the comma, to select the entire range, but fix them with a dollar sign, and then you will get the ranks. So if you see that, this is number 1, which is the highest value, of course, 89,000. First rank, second rank is this one, third is this one. The other way of doing this, select the entire range, go to the conditional formatting, highlight cell rules, and tell them like how many, what are the top 10 or the bottom 10 you want to see. So for example, if I want to see highlight or maybe top, so top 10, I can see, just give me the top 3 items. So this will highlight the top 3 items. You can do the same thing for the bottom. So if I go bottom 10, or I just go this bottom 3. Oh, first you have to clear the rules. And because I have applied the formula twice, 3. So these are the bottom 3. You can see 4, 6, and 5. So this is like easy. You can quickly identify the top and the highest values depending on the criteria that you want to set. At the same time, let me just clear this rule. And you can also use these bars, data bars. So that can tell you like whatever you want to select, that it can tell you like which one is the highest. So that can instantly show you the the highest to the lowest range of the data set. Or you can also create a heat map using this color palette, which means it's up to you, like how do you want to define that? Like white being the highest, or green being the lowest, or yellow or a green, or red, yellow, green. So if you can see, if you use this one, you can see 6.1 is the red. This is like minimal red. 89 is the green one. So this way you can create a heat map. So for example, let's assume you have a data set at the time series value. So you can just simply create like a whole heat map of how the data set is flowing. And you can easily pick up like one dark green or the highest red cell out of like thousands of cells you have on the screen. So you can instantly pick that up. Okay, any other question before I move on to a few other features of Excel? Okay. Transpose formula. So sometimes we have like a long list of values. So for example, if you want to convert this to maybe like in columns, right now these categories are showing up in rows. One thing, range, like in this one, rank, because you are actually telling him to, yeah. So basically, I want to give him the range because that's how it can determine the rank out of this range only. If I don't give, determine like what's the data range to identify the rank. So that's why, like if even if you have more data set, yeah, you can drag it. Yeah, you can simply drag it all the way down, but you have to have the data set in here. So for example, maybe if I write 25,000, 40,000. Oh, I basically fixed it. So maybe you can just 8 to 22 maybe this time. Simply. So if you keep on adding like the data set, maybe 100,000. So this will turn 1. Okay, makes sense. Okay, so transpose feature is basically, let's suppose if you have like 25 items in here and you want to, let me just copy paste them in here. So you can. So if you want to convert them to maybe columns, so what you will do is you just simply drag this, copy paste this in here, right? And that would be quite annoying. Like if you have like 200 items. So there's a simple formula. There are two things. One, you can copy this entire range, right click anywhere, like wherever you want to paste them, and use this function transpose. So that will transpose your data set into rows from the column, from rows to the columns. Another way of doing the same thing is use the transpose formula and just simply select the range, bracket close. It will do the same thing. But in order to make some, a few things dynamic, only, I mean, like in some instances, we probably would use this transpose formula, but I think this method, just copy this, paste it as transpose value, this would work. This is the easiest way. Okay. You might have seen drop-down features in many Excel dashboards or reports, maybe. How do we do that? So let me just first create a data list. Maybe we can use category, subcategory, and what's the third one? I think the store name. And I want to set 3 criteria in the dropdown to make a very small dashboard kind of thing. So I'll use the unique filter in here to give me the unique values. Do the same thing for column F, which is the subcategory. And we'll do the same thing for maybe store name. And this is column G. Okay, so G, I always forget. It should be sheet data list. Okay, 7. Yeah, so let's suppose this is my list. Now, I want to create a drop-down. Let's suppose we create a drop-down here for category, subcategory, and maybe store name. Select this cell go to the data tab and go to this data validation. Click data validation, go to this list and give him the source. So I have the source for this category in this format in here. Click OK. That's my first thing. You can have a drop down here. And I can highlight this cell just to make sure that we have a reference in here. Okay, this one, do the same thing. Go to the data tab, data validation, list, and select this subcategory. Click OK. Okay. This. And this is going to be the third one, which is store name. Data validation, select list, go to this, and go to this data list. Click OK. Now we have 3 drop downs, and each is basically showing you the list here. Sometimes you basically want to make it dynamic, like the dynamic dashboard. Let's suppose I want to see the sales for January, Feb, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, and December based on this category. So first, calculate a measure. I'll tell you how you can use the date function, like how you can extract the date. So let's suppose month. So I'll extract the month from this order date. How you can do that? Text, select this range. What do you want? Month, date, or year? If I want just the year, simply write Y. That will just extract the year of that date. If you want just the month, write M. That will extract the month. If you want the full name of the month, just type M 4 times, and that will tell you the full name of the month. And if you just want the date, this is 29. And if you want the name of the day, just simply write 4 times T. That will tell you it was Sunday on 29th September 2024. But for this purpose, I am going to use month because I'm going to create a dynamic dropdown, and I will simply drag it down to all the way. Now we have the month column. Let's delete that. Okay, this one. So I want to see the sales of based on these 3 criteria. I will use sum if formula. Sum ifs. I'm going to see, give me the sum range. The sum range is, of course, net sales. What is my second criteria? Criteria range 1 is going to be my category again. The criteria is given in here. So I will fix that cell because when I drag it, it should not move. So I will fix this range. The second category is subcategory. The criteria is this cell. So I will use dollar to fix this. The third criteria is going to be the store name, comma. Yeah, this cell. Again, I'll fix it. The fourth criteria is going to be the month, which is, where is the month? Yeah, this one. And this is my month criteria. I'm not going to fix this because I'll just simply drag it down. Click enter. Now it's showing 0 because I don't have any selection in there. So let's try that. Toy category. Second condition, maybe in the toy category, educational. Store name, I want to see Toy Planet. So I can see the sales only in these 3 months. So you see, I have just simply created some dropdowns. Maybe select any other store, home essential. So whatever you selection you will select in this dropdown, it will change the range. So that's how you can dynamically change your data set. And if I just want to apply the single condition here, let's suppose for just one I mean, like that's just leave it. So yeah, this is called the data validation. Using the drop downs, you can just simply use the data validation things. The last part, which is very, very interesting, and that can solve a lot of your problems, is the pivot table. A lot of people get confused with the pivot tables, but that is, trust me, this is really, really easy. So in order to create a pivot table, select the entire data range. Maybe this column, I will just simply remove it. There was an additional column. Or maybe I can also remove these columns. In fact, I'll just select all the way till email addresses. So select the whole range, go to the insert and pivot table. I'll just explain this in a bit detail because this is a game changer. I mean, like this through the pivot tables, you can easily create any sort of analysis you want. So why is it showing the? Oh, I think you can remove this column. I don't need it. So let's suppose if you have already created a pivot table and you want to change, you have made some changes in the original data set, to simply go in here and right click and refresh it. So it will refresh it. I'm trying to see like where these columns are, where these guys are coming from. I don't see them in the data set, but yeah. Okay, let me. Okay, let's copy this data set in a separate sheet. And let's create a pivot table from here. Okay, perfect. Now I want to quickly, like, let's suppose your boss actually comes and he gives you like tons of data set, and he wants to analyze, wants you to analyze a quick thing, like, I want to see it. So for example, whatever things we were doing in here with sum ifs and the count ifs formula, pivot table can easily do this for you without applying any sort of formulas. So this is my pivot table. Now I want to see, show me the category list. So in this, when you create a pivot table, that will show you a pane here, so menu pane. So you can use these fields and drag it anywhere in there, just depending on your data set. So for example, the question is, I want to see the net sales by category and by month. So I will drag this categories in row here, and the month is going to be, which is, I will use this as an order date in here. So let me remove days and order date. I just simply want it by month. And the net sales, I will just drop in here. So whatever we were doing with sum ifs formula, now I have it like on a few clicks. So now I can see the sales by each category and by month. And this is also showing the grand total by category and the grand total by month here. Let's suppose if you want to also include the subcategory between this, like what is the what is the total of, like how the books category is broken down into subcategories. So you can simply drag this under subcategory, and that will expand books under comic. We have this much sales, education, this much, fiction, non-fiction, and all the way down to, and you can always just click on that collapse entire field, and then you can just simply open like whatever you want to see, and that will show you the data of that month specifically. Let's suppose if you want to do another example, like you want to apply a filter by location or the store, like I want to see specific store sales. So you drop this in the filter pane and use this drop down. And when you when you open this, it will show you the list of stores. So I want to see, only show me the tech store sales for these categories. Or you want multiple, so select multiple. I want to see tech store and Toy Planet. So select both, and that will show you the sum of these two stores, sales by month and by category, and of course, like by subcategory if you want to drill it down further. You can also do the same thing. Let's suppose if you just want to see how many orders were there, like if you just want to calculate the order. So instead of net sales, maybe I will remove net sales from here, and I will use the order ID, drag it here. So that will count the number of orders we have for these. Maybe like, let's suppose, let's assume Fashion Hub. So for Fashion Hub, we have these like 50 orders in total from May till November. So you can see how easy it is to just drag down any field that you want, any format that you want. Maybe if you want, maybe if you want to see the categories in in row and sorry, in columns, and the month in row. So simply bring this one here, bring the category there, remove subcategory. See, you don't have to like back, and you will see the format that whatever way you want. So this is really, really interesting thing. So I will just simply go back to the maybe quantity. Yeah, you can also see the number of items delivered. So this time, or if you want to see both things together, I will just simply drag this in here. Let's suppose sum of quantity and sum of net sales. So May, we sold 66 items worth $19,598. And that's only for Fashion Hub. But if you want to see any specific category, maybe just books. So this will show you fashion in Fashion Hub store. Books were sold 55 during all these months, worth $13,786. So it's quite easy if you create a pivot table from your data set and just play around with like whatever format that you want to see, you can just simply use that. So that's really, really interesting. One last thing. Yeah, months in column. Yeah, I can show you. So I have now this months in rows. Simply drag this all the way down in here, values in here. Sorry, not values. It was, I think, months. I will just drag category here and the net sale in here. So you can see this here. What was the thing? Yeah, so you can use that, and May 1st to 31. Oh, yeah, you can simply just write, like you can simply use May, like you can rename this like May 1 to 31st, or if you want, just let me just also show you one more thing. So let's suppose if you want to bring the delivery order, sorry, order date. Let's bring the order date in here. That will be an interesting thing to show. This, and I will move the order days here. Sorry, not this one. Order date. So let's suppose I have the months in rows and category in columns, but I want to see the specific date. So you can open that up and you can see, like in the month of May, we have like 10 days. We only have live sales for 10 days, but this is only for one store. If you select all of them, maybe you will see like the entire range. So you can also use this feature. Like if you have like the dates in the date format, then you can just apply this filter in here. If there are more than one stores, so you can just also use this, for example, where is the store? Oh, store here. So if you bring the store here, so let's suppose I just brought the store name from filter to the main category. So you can open this up and you can see the breakdown of books in matrix style. And this is the total. And you can also open like electronics. So you can all go all the way down. And it's just the same way that we did with like category and subcategory, or you can also do it like this way. Let's suppose if I move the month in here, let me remove the dates and bring the category store name. So now you have store as the first hierarchy. The second hierarchy is going to be the sales, or you can do the vice versa. You can just drag, you can go from category to the store. So you can open like, show me the breakdown of clothing sales for each store, or you can go the other way around. Show me the category sales, sorry, the store sales by each category. So it's up to you. Like pivot table can solve any problem with respect to like managing or analyzing the data. I think one more. Okay, let's just also quickly do like the useful charts that we might use. So for example, let's use maybe. Do I have the data set, the sample? Yeah, this one maybe. And I will just use the percentage or the penetration here. So the penetration is going to be, this is the total sales. This divided by this is going to be your penetration. Okay, so when you do this, if you want to visually present your data set, so that's a quick example. Select the category or like whatever the metric you have and the values, go to the insert tab, and maybe you can click on the recommended chart. So Excel will tell you like which chart is useful for this presentation. So ideally, I think these two are the best. So if you drill this down and right click on there and just add labels, it will tell you the sales breakdown by category. You can always go in there, change the quick style, use this option. These are ready to use styles, so you can choose anyone. And if you don't like it, if you want to change the color of this one, so select these parts, go to the format tab, change the fill color, this one, or you can use the gradient color, something like that, so it will look more nicer. That's one thing. For the, and let's suppose if I use the same chart, but I want to see the donut chart, like I want to see the breakdown of this. So you can click on that, go to the donut chart, apply add labels. For labels, I want to see the percentage. So right click on the labels, go to the format data labels, and then you can choose like what information you want to see in here. So I don't want to see the values. I just want to see the percentages and maybe the category name. So remove the legends from here. And if you zoom that in, so you should be able to see like it's almost like equal except for this electronic, which has the highest sales penetration, which is like 21%, but the rest are like 16, 12, 18, and 15. Yes, the graphs can be used in there. For example, I think that would be a good example. In the where did I create the? Let me find them out. Where did I create the? Yeah, this one. So let's suppose use this, and this is going to be dynamic, by the way. Let's suppose I use this one, maybe. Okay. So cosmics. See, I don't have any comics text or let's another lab. Oh, let's use health and beauty and women. No, not women. Actually, fragrance and fashion. So whatever you change you will make here, it depends. So this graph will update. So it's pretty dynamic. I mean, you don't have to like create different charts for each and everything. You just simply create like one dynamic view and create chart out of there, and you should be able to see your graph moving when you change the drop down. One also quick thing, I think I can also show you if you use the complete data on. Yeah, I think I can probably. I think Shamaila, I think I should. Did I answer your question? Right. So okay, I think one last thing probably I want to show you is the index match formula. And that is going to be a really interesting thing. It's quite complicated, but you can always Google it. I'll just simply tell you like what's the application of index and match formula. So let's suppose, I think I did create, let's suppose you have a data set of, I'll just simply um, uh, country and maybe August, May, June, July, August. Let's suppose. How many countries do we have? Let's use the category for now. Okay, so these are the list of categories we have. It will be quick, and this is going to be the last thing I promise. Okay, so I want to see. So basically, let's define a criteria here. So category and month and sales. So these two categories I want to select. And let's suppose I'll just simply make it up 200, 100, 100. So I want to define a criteria here that data list, list. So category is going to be from this range, month data list. This is going to be this. Okay. So I've applied 2 drop downs, right? And I want to see like whatever combination I will choose here, like books, June, sales, show me the sales of books for the month of June. So let's use index and match example. And I'll have to use index and match. So first, type index, search the entire data range, type match, press the first selection, which is going to be this. This is in, the books isn't going to be in here, 0, and then match it. Oh, sorry, let me type that again. Select the whole range, comma, match this one, books category, from the books range here, comma 0, and then match the month from this, comma 0. Now, let's see how this would react. So let's suppose if I select health and beauty for the month of May. So health and beauty for the month of May is 24, this is 24, right? And if I go and select maybe electronics for the month of May, so this is 2. And if I change the months to August, it should return 9, 9. So it's a very simple formula. Like, again, you don't have to memorize the formula. You can just simply Google it. But it's just like if you have like a matrix kind of table and you have 2 conditions, like one in the columns and the second one in the rows, and you just want to return like the value, like which one is matching between this data set. So you can simply use the index and match formula. I think with this, we can probably wrap. I know like we are 5 minutes overboard, but with this, I think we can wrap this up. If you guys have any comments, feedbacks, anything, please just simply reach out to the emails. I'll just simply write the email in the chat box. And that's about it. I hope you guys have had some really good learnings from this workshop. Okay, I have just shared the email address. If you guys have any questions, I can spare like maybe 2-3 minutes and then we'll probably leave. Thank you guys for the awesome feedback. We will send you a survey form, which is going to be very quick, will not take more than 2 minutes. So if you guys can just give us your feedback for our, it would be great. Marisha, are you still there?
Hi, yes, I am.
Okay, great. Let me stop sharing my screen. All right, guys, I really, really appreciate your feedback. I can see like lots of positive comments in the chat box. Thank you so much. We will try to continue with these kind of series, maybe like another session with Word or maybe like more advanced session for the Excel or maybe PowerPoint, because I'm really good in PowerPoint as well. So yeah, we can maybe like arrange some more sessions, something like it's just like, giving back to the community. And I would like to thank Manzar for taking this initiative because it was his idea. So thank you so much, Manzar, once again. And Varisha, of course, you were an amazing host and moderator for today's session.
Thank you for sharing your time with us. It was an amazing workshop.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. So guys, excuse me. We'll see you in some other next interesting session.
All right, so that is the end for our meeting today. If you guys have any questions, you can reach out through email. And also, yes, you guys, we're going to be sharing the recording with you guys through your email. And if you guys have any other questions, yeah, reach out through email. And details about other sessions, you can follow us through our LinkedIn, and we will be reaching out. So yeah, you guys are all free to leave now. Once again, thank you all so much for joining us today.